Thank you for tuning into the Airbud Cinematic Universe, a totally irrelevant 14-part podcast in which we explore the cinematic universe of the Airbud films. I am one of your hosts. I am Aaron Lancaster, and I have another host with me, Jeff Alterman. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm going down a wormhole right here. It's getting real weird. I wish that we didn't start talking about it before it started because I don't know if I could stop.
It's wild. So, Jeff, what's your experience with the Airbud movies before we had this cockamamie idea?
I watched Airbud once.
Same. We are not by any means seasoned Airbud professionals, although we hope to be by the time that this series has concluded. This is, as I mentioned, 14 films, and I think arguably one good one. I just rewatched Airbud for this, and that's it didn't. I remembered Airbud as a sports movie from my childhood, and Airbud just not a sports movie. It's more of like a harrowing tale of abuse and family drama.
No, it's absolutely about a boy fighting clinical depression through the use of a dog that he found on the street once.
Yeah. So what Jeff is referencing here, that is when you go to the Wikipedia page and talk about and look at the plot synopsis for the movie, it mentions that our hero, Josh Fram, somebody that you might consider maybe the Captain America of our cinematic universe. The movie opens with the knowledge that his father had passed in a plane crash, right? It was a plane crash.
Yeah, he was a pilot, and the actual thing that I'm referring to with the depression, it's on Airbuddy's personal Wikipedia page. It's not on the film's Wikipedia page.
Okay,
but we'll get to
that. Yeah, this movie's wild.
It's not.
So
it's about a boy and his dog, and also the dog can bounce balls and shit.
I don't think that's what it really. I don't think that what that's really about. Like when it opens up,
on
the dog
surface,
is
on the surface.
True,
but when you dig below and you try to figure out what relevant context is in there, it's much darker.
Well, it's not only darker, but it is in many ways a perfect movie because I can ascribe multiple genres to this film.
Don't say that when I'm drinking.
It's a family drama. It's a sports movie. It's a fun family comedy. It's a courtroom drama. There's a lot going on here that we're going to unpack today.
If you're a fan of that one scene in Rise of the Planet of the Apes where Tom Felton beats up monkeys, you got similar stuff to that in this movie.
You absolutely do.
Did you like Michael Cheater? Prepare to look at him in a terrible clown costume.
Well, like this is his first time playing a clown, not the last, but the first, which is crazy to think about. Michael Jeter, who plays Norm Snively, the character that we see as a children's birthday clown in the intro. Also, many people know from The Green Mile, where in both films he plays a clown in very dark circumstances. But yeah, the movie opens up. He's kind of an asshole to this dog that he beats with a newspaper, and the dog runs away. And like that's it's pretty cut and dry that this is like an animal abuse situation that goes completely ignored because it's a stray dog when the kid finds him. So yeah.
At least 3 major actors from this film are currently dead.
Yeah, Michael Jeter being one of them. When did Michael Jeter pass away? Do we have notes on
Michael
that?
Jeter passed away in 2003 from complications from an epileptic seizure, RIP. And then we also have Eric Christmas, who played the judge when the film became a courtroom drama for a hot second. He passed away in 2000 at the age of 1984. Eric Christmas, known for Porky's and also Porky's 2. But not only that, he also was in Porky's Revenge. He died from natural causes, which is a way to say they don't know, but he was old. These all seem like pretty mild ways to die compared to Air Buddy.
Yeah. So before the recording of this episode, Jeff and I were talking, and I was mentioning that this is the only movie in which Air Bud is played by one dog. And I didn't realize that it's the only one where Air Buddy is credited for the film. Jeff, would you care to explain what happened there?
Air Buddy was born on March 23rd, 1988, and he passed away on February 10th, 1998. He was a golden retriever dog actor. This was his best known role. It was not his first role. He also was in the film Fluke in 1995, which is a fantasy drama film starring Matthew Modine. Now, Air Buddy also happened to be on some America's Funniest Home Videos, David Letterman. He was also on Full House once as a dog named Comet. Now, okay. Air Buddy, he was cast as Buddy in the 1997 film Air Bud, a film that tells the story of a golden retriever abandoned by his alcoholic, abusive owner. In the film, he moved in with a boy named Josh Fram, who was depressed after his father died in a plane crash. Now, it says depressed in here, but it highlights it on the Wikipedia page because Wikipedia wants you to know that Josh Fram suffered from clinical depression. So
if you're clinically depressed, just get a dog that's really good at basketball. That is the official views of this podcast.
Now, by the way, just want to mention, I need to see here when this one actually took place in 1998's Kid Choice Awards, which dated April 4th, 1998. It says that Air Buddy appeared on the Kids' Choice Awards in 1998, but that was in April. But he died in February.
Maybe we shouldn't be using Wikipedia for our source.
Prior to his death, Buddy sired 9 puppies. Air Bud was his final acting role. Now, in 1997, Buddy fell victim to a synovial cell sarcoma. It's a type of cancer. Buddy had one of his legs removed. It had to be amputated. Although, according to the notes here, he was still able to shoot hoops. 6 months later, he died in his sleep. And then it says here, he was a month and 23 days away from celebrating his 10th birthday. Air Bud Golden Receiver was dedicated to his memory. Air Buddy, you will always be in our thoughts and in our prayers. Why don't we get back to talking about the movie, though?
Yeah. Let's just 8 minutes into this brand new podcast talk about a dog. Cheers, buddy. Our hearts are with you and with your family.
All 9 of your children that you left behind.
So,
I'm assuming they're gone too.
So yeah, his Josh Fram, as I mentioned, our Captain America for this series is Josh Fram, and obviously Air Bud is Iron Man. But Josh's dad died in a totally relatable way. He was a pilot who died in a test flight of an aircraft. So probably working, in fact, with S.H.I.E.L.D. There's going to be some tie-ins that we do here. So yeah, he gets to school. He's shy. He's a little undersized. Gets picked on, and then then the dog comes into his life, and it's like he has the one friend, and it's kind of cute. They wrestle around, play like on a basketball court, play a little bit of basketball. But I forgot.
Hold up. Not just any basketball court. He's trespassing on private property that's not his home.
I thought that was a court by his house.
It was definitely the backyard of someone else's house. I thought
it's somebody else's house,
because if that's a public property, then why did literally no one in a town take care of it? They're tax-paying citizens.
See, I thought it was on the property because they just bought the house in the movie, because like the mom's like painting stuff.
His property? Is that his property?
I think that's their house.
I thought that their house seemed just nice enough that pretty shitty backyard I figured was like some other property. I thought that he just left to go out somewhere to play basketball on someone else's property with a dog.
Yeah, I think it's a little backwards behind. But yeah, like he's dribbling into like just piles of leaves. I'm surprised every time he bounces the ball and it actually comes up.
No, found it. He practices basketball by himself in a makeshift court that he sets up in an abandoned allotment.
What the fuck? Oh no.
So he actually went to an abandoned property that isn't his. Someone owns it. They just don't do anything with it. And he cleaned it up and painted it. What do you think the owner's going to do when they see a perfectly good basketball court appear in their backyard?
I mean, it didn't look like it'd been like anybody really noticed, but I think that's like
no one goes to the abandoned allotment.
This is going to be like, I'm going to say probably the first of maybe 3 or 4 times that this movie could have ended really badly for Josh.
Absolutely. Like, he could have fallen and there could have been needles on the ground.
Like this is how this is 3 times out of 4 a kid plays on abandoned property, ends up a story on Dateline. That's an actual like Dateline statistic. There's no way this kid doesn't get abducted or something. But instead, he's found by a magical basketball dog. So he, kid loves basketball, and it turns out that he ends up conveniently moving to a place with a school where basketball is their culture. Just so the movie could happen. It's like this school, the coach is super hardcore. I didn't remember like kids being like 6 inches taller than them across the entire team, and like the coach like treating them like he was like some sort of fake military kind of asshole. Josh doesn't make the team, but he's offered the equipment manager spot. And basically he is the water boy, as he's often referred to. Hey kid, you're not good enough to play on our team, but guess what? You're gonna be doing laundry for us now. Like some sort of fucking Disney princess.
He's a child. You shouldn't be. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like he's fucking Cinderella, and they're all the evil stepsisters. Only instead, they're just a bunch of dickhead middle schoolers who just love basketball. Basketball is life. Basketball is love. That's all they want. And he's like, I just want a friend, and they're like, too bad.
I want a version of this where he has to sweep a chimney. Just have to get down on this kid so much. And like we've just described probably the first half hour of this movie. That's the crazy part. This is not like a sports movie to this point.
I absolutely am just sitting here going through the entire series' cast lists right now. By the way, I had no idea that the kid who plays Josh Fram is in so many of these films. He's in the first 4 films in this series, which is crazy when you think about how much that they recast kids back then all the time.
He's apparently like he was like a borderline semi-professional athlete in multiple sports. So it made him perfect for being like a sports kid in the movie. Yeah,
borderline, meaning he was never quite good enough.
he could have played for the Knicks, but he was too committed to his film career. Yeah, it's crazy though how much this is like. I was so surprised how much this wasn't a sports movie though.
Okay,
like for the first. So yeah. There's just so much in this movie. It's so
oh my
dense.
God. Have you seen what he looks like now?
Yeah, he looks good. He was a model too.
It's just when you see some people like how they grow and like you see them as adults versus how they were when they were kids, it's like they don't even look the same like that unless you're Haley Joel Osment, in which his face is the same and then his head just grew out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this kid looks entirely different. Good looking dude.
Entirely different.
So do need to back up a little bit. There's the whole agreement with the mom and Josh that like we'll keep the dog till Christmas if nobody claims him. So yeah, we're gonna like that's when you knew that like the mom's gonna fold. We're not gonna like give away the dog to the pound on Christmas. But right after Christmas, a couple of kids on the team, they moved during the holiday. So Josh gets this note in his locker. And this is number 2 for Josh in danger in the movie. A note in his locker that says private tryout. Do you remember this?
The private tryout that was in his locker.
No,
yeah, I was.
Yeah, he gets a note that says private tryout and he's invited. Like it totally looked like a serious red flag.
No. It was very weird when you think about it in a larger context of here's a small child who opens his locker in a new location and it says, "Hey, come to this private location," and he doesn't know anyone.
We're gonna have a private basketball tryout for you, little Joshy. This coach, like the coach, you get bad vibes from the entire way, and we'll get to why he gives us bad vibes eventually. But like, you don't get a good feeling from this coach, and you're watching this movie. And there's a note for a private tryout. And you're like, oh no, no.
And that coach was a dick.
Yeah,
and it turned out the scene read when he gets a private note. It's like oh, this coach is going to show his dick. No, he just was a dick. He showed himself.
Yes. When he gets to the he gets a spot on the team, and we get to that first game where he's playing, and the dog ends up on the court. And like that's a little exposure to like to the fact that he can shoot a basketball. The thing is that dog does not shoot a basketball at any point in this movie until 45 minutes in. It's 44 minutes, 38 seconds into the film, the dog shoots the basketball for the first time. This is a movie where the dog plays basketball. That's the gimmick. They tease us for 45 minutes.
Well, hey. Transformers Age of Extinction, they put their whole marketing budget behind showing that they're going to be dinosaur Transformers. And they show up in the last 10 minutes of the movie. It's sometimes you need to build up and promise what people want, but there has to be a lead up to it.
Yeah. I mean, but they don't really connect any of the dots. I'm pretty sure that anybody listening to this has no dots connected as if they had watched the film. I think that we're pretty much in the same spot. But yeah, first game, like this dog has superpowers. It's agreed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has super strength. He could basically fly, and also he's very bad painting, as we saw in that one scene.
I think the main thing. he has the cognitive mind of an adult human.
Right.
Like with like he can get in and out of the top window of the house really easily. During the game, when the family's not home, when the family's not home, the dog leaves the house.
Yep.
He leaves the house and just decides, I'm going to go to the school because they must be there.
Where to go.
He's never been to the school. He looks up the address. Okay, I added that part in myself. But he goes to the school.
He Googled it.
And goes to the basketball court, which is why I think that, and there's going to be more of this as we explore into the series, Air Bud is possessed by the spirit of Josh's father.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, absolutely. It's okay if you're not watching. Like, this movie has a lot in common with Detective Pikachu, where that's basically the plot of Detective Pikachu. The kid loses his dad, and then he has a cute animal companion who joins into his life and does things that he loves with him. Like, dude, the dog is totally his dad.
Air Bud is Detective Pikachu.
It's the same parallel right there. I'd more recently seen Detective Pikachu than I had Air Bud when I rewatched this movie for the first time, and I was like, oh, this feels like the same beats of like Detective Pikachu.
If Buddy is Detective Pikachu, who is Michael Jeter? Is he Bill Nye?
Yes, he is. He totally is.
Is he Mewtwo?
I mean,
it's the dumbest fucking thing I've heard today.
It's gonna get dumber.
Let's keep going through. Let's try and get through this plot here because it's 22 minutes in, and we just talked about that the dog can play basketball.
So we get we're on pace with the movie right now. So after the game, the dog hears the ball bouncing, and he goes back up to the gym where the coach is just beaming this kid fucking basketballs. And it's dark. Like, it is like, this is the first time this movie should have been a courtroom drama. It's not the only time that it is.
The film straight up shows the film, to its credit, it tries to show that abuse is bad, with animal abuse and whatnot. But it also just is like, you know what this film with animal abuse needs? Child abuse. And you know what? Not even from an important character, just another child.
Now, you have two choices logically from this point. Does Air Bud, does he have the cognitive ability in and of himself to realize that he was witnessing abuse? Or is that the spirit of Josh's dad solving a crime as a dog? Those are the only two logical places for why that dog just even like runs up to discover that this coach is an asshole.
Both of those give me a headache. I have to be honest. But I just, something tells me that the way you're operating here, AJ, is that there are no coincidences in Air Bud and everything happened for a reason.
I mean, there's too many things that happen with this dog for some shit to not be going on. There's a lot there. I mean, not only can he shoot a basketball, but when he's playing in the game, and we'll get to the game in the finale, but this is just a quick thing on that point, he knows who his teammates are. He doesn't know what color those jerseys are, but he knows who the teammates are and can play basketball with them. It's a thing. Man, there's some, And like this is just building the groundwork of the cinematic universe itself.
Oh my god, what a dumb fucking idea. This
It totally
hey, none of the rules says you can't build a cinematic universe around a dog who plays basketball.
No, there absolutely are not. So after the coach is fired, we didn't mention this character who becomes a central character at this point, and that is Mr. Arthur Chaney, who's the school janitor, who just happens to be a school janitor for some reason after having been a famous basketball player himself.
Yeah, they give zero explanation as to why he's just a janitor that lives alone and is quiet all the time.
Yeah. But so we definitely check another box because we get the magical black man trope in a sports movie, so perfect there. And they do the thing with the playing invisible basketball. Like, was that a real drill anywhere for anybody's pee-wee like basketball team?
Okay, all right. So there's not when there's a not for sports. I say this because I am in fact a professional athlete. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you see me, you know. And but in at least one theater class that I've been in, there's this warm-up sort of exercise where it's like you're holding like the energy ball and it's like you toss it to someone else and then they have it and then they toss it. You're not running around, you're in a circle or something like that. But there is such thing as these exercises as a way to connect to other people, where you have like this invisible ball and you kind of toss it to other people and you do stuff with it. Maybe it's big, maybe it's little, maybe it's shaped differently. Who knows? But there is stuff like it, not to the intensity that Arthur Chaney did with a group of small children. But yes,
he was teaching them to be brilliant actors. And the first one to catch on was the dog. Doing when he does the fake dribbling and the dog's head moves up and down. Just so good. So
it's I mean, you're using the word good. I'm not necessarily using that word, but I'm glad you are. So I'm proud of you for that.
So they they move on. Buddy becomes the school's basketball team mascot. The halftime shows are the one that they show is amazing. So they try to replicate him shooting the ball, but the dog gets nervous around crowds, and
just focus on me.
Like the look in it. Josh gets some crazed looks in his eyes, and it's every time that he's about to drop that ball, he doesn't know if the dog is going to come back at it. Like when he lifts up the ball and just doinks it off of Airbud's nose, it's
animal abuse, but this time it's funny.
It's comical. It's played for laughs, but it's a little sociopathic.
It's just like, now you're going to do your fucking trick for me, aren't you?
I think, really, it's the only difference between Norm Snively and Josh Fram is that one uses positive reinforcement and the other one uses negative. They're both in this to just take complete advantage of the animal, let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, though, now hear me out. Is Norm Snively actually a villain compared to Josh Fram? Because Norm Snively is very open with what he's doing. Josh Fram is saying, hey, I just want a dog. I want to have fun. But he's using it to emotionally manipulate to serve his needs.
Yeah.
And in order to further his popularity, He is a selfish child using this dog to get ahead, socially, personally, professionally. At least Norm Snively, you know what you're gonna get. I mean, what you're gonna get is some hardcore animal abuse, but you know what you're gonna get.
And those fucking kids okay, if I had to do kids' birthday parties, like I might take the emotional manipulation just based off of that fact in comparison. So I get where Buddy's coming from. But yeah, Josh is he's I think we're gonna see a lot of questionable questionable emotional manipulation from Josh as we explore through this series.
Questionable is a good way to frame it.
So yeah. So after that halftime show, Buddy makes the news the next game right before the championship. Norm Snively shows up and has the papers for the dog and gets his dog back, which is the legal thing to do. And Josh, like an absolute maniac, tracks down this man's address, sneaks in, kidnaps the dog.
In the process, ruining legal papers. So, by the way, by the time this becomes a courtroom drama, he wins because he went in and
he destroyed evidence,
legal documents, further supporting my comments that Josh Fram may be the villain of the story.
Oh God, what is this movie? But it's okay.
Iron Man of the Airbud Cinematic Universe.
It is. It totally is.
As you said.
So yeah, then we get into that last game. Apparently, half the team is out with chicken pox. So there's only like 6 kids, 7. Just, I mean, I think we all know where this is going because the dog hasn't played basketball yet.
Could you imagine being the child who was replaced and put on the bench in favor of a fucking dog?
So that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
I know, but just I know they're sick, but it's just like we're sick, and we realized that all we needed to win was not you, but it came.
True. One of these kids comes back from the chicken pox, and he lost his spot on the team to a
exactly.
Dog.
You can't make varsity because a fucking dog did instead. You don't get to have one of those jackets. 30 years when you come back home and you're visiting and you get to see everyone on the team wearing the jackets and you don't get to have one because you were passed over in favor of a dog who died a year later.
They're talking about how the dog was cooler at parties than you were.
Not only can the dog play basketball, not only can he do volleyball, not only can he do football, not only can he do soccer, the dog was killer at keg stands.
Oh, yeah.
And you wonder,
one guy on each leg.
Now here's the deal. You know that this dog left us with 9 children. This dog fucks.
Oh yeah. Those 9 children weren't a litter. They had separate moms. So yeah, one kid fouls out, 2 more get injured, and then they're like, "Well, we're gonna finish it with 4." Like, Why? We've got a perfectly good dog who can play basketball and a jersey that we hadn't seen him wear up until this point. We saw the shoes. But we didn't see the jersey.
Yeah.
Leading to him bringing up the dog. Josh brings up Airbud to the desk and says subbing in K9 because of course you fucking would. Of course you would. And that's when the coach of the other team, we didn't talk about Larry Williamson at all, the bully from the original team who moved to another town.
Larry Willingham.
Willingham.
What a household he probably lived in.
Oh yeah.
What a terrible household he lived in.
Yeah. Actually, let's pause this and go on Larry Willingham for a second, because like when it showed the scene with the coach throwing balls at the kid, I hadn't seen this movie in so long, and I was just like caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, "Is that the dad? Is the dad fucking him up?" Because that's the logical thing that we led to, like, is that dad is a tyrant. The kid is just, I mean, a product of his environment. Like, oh, Larry is terrible.
He's awful, and just like think about it, man. This kid goes and he's taken off the team because of sportsmanship or whatever, and the father's like, "Great, we're moving just to be in a different district so you can crush the team that you were benched from in one game."
When you're 12.
That's not how life works.
Oh.
Because here's the deal. He's at a rival school, and the way it works to enroll kids in these schools, you have to be in their zip code or in their area. In order to get him enrolled in another school, he either had to negotiate his way in, or he had to move the whole family to just be in a slightly different area. By the way, that meant ripping him out from his at 12 years old from his entire social setting, and then telling him, "Guess what? All your friends are now your enemies, and you're going to deal with it."
Oh, this movie is wild.
So anyways,
so the Willinghams,
and they fight about it, and that comes, and as a result, we have the one.
We have the line.
We have the line. We have arguably.
This is the Iron Man of the ABCU.
It is one of the single greatest lines possibly put to film.
This is like,
gives me chills.
Ain't no rules that says a dog can't play basketball.
And everyone's like, "Well, you got me there." You know why there's no rule? Because no one ever thought to fucking do that before.
The coach, though, Arthur, brings up a great fucking point. Arthur Cheney just, what? Are you afraid that your kids are gonna get their ass kicked by a dog playing basketball? And they're like, you know what? You're right. You're right.
And then they got their ass kicked by a dog playing basketball. Based on the time of the filming and when the film came out, possibly a dog with cancer playing basketball.
Yeah.
This was the dog's Make-A-Wish.
God. Oh.
So anyways, so he plays the game.
And
so he plays the game. And initially, he helps bring them back for like a come from behind championship victory.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd goes wild.
They were down by, was it 16 points when he came in with like 8 minutes left in the game? 8 minutes left in the game. He walks in just right at the perfect time.
8 minutes left is a long time
Yeah.
in basketball. Considering you can only have the ball, I think, for 24 seconds, 8 minutes is a long time. By the way, last thing we'll say, and then we'll move on to the next scene because we're getting near the finish line here. The dog can play basketball. However, he definitely wasn't even bouncing the ball. He was just kicking the shit out of it all over the place.
Mm.
And I do believe that there are probably rules about how to move the ball around. This seems to be a combination of using your feet and traveling.
I mean, the ball bounces most of the time. If not, I think it counts as a pass because he's not like using his hind legs; he's using his front paws.
Yeah, but he's passing to himself. He's just kicking it around and shit.
Okay, a little bit. I can see that, but mostly it's him bouncing it off to other people. God, this movie.
So they win.
They win. Yes.
And then to reward the viewer for watching the dog finally play basketball, they decided, you know what this movie needs?
A courtroom drama.
The verdict. Norm Snively returns to sue, but he doesn't have the proper documents anymore.
Why does he not have the documents, Jeff?
Well, because Josh Fram destroyed legal documents. He was caught by Norm Snively ruining evidence. He destroyed evidence. He tampered with the case.
Yeah. So it goes to court, and the judge...
The judge says, what do you mean we have to have a dog? All right, but I demand to take this case seriously. And then Norm Snively walks in a fucking clown costume.
Totally in a clown costume.
And he's like, I just want to show you how serious I am that I am going to appear in a clown costume.
This guy did not have any sort of legal consultation for this entire case. Oh my god. You can bring in a flyer. You can bring in a headshot.
You think this film reflects actual legal negotiations?
No.
No. This is heightened, AJ. This is heightened reality. All right. We take what we know, and then we add something else to it to make it just a little different. And in this case, that something else that's just a little different is a clown suing a child over stealing a dog that he beat up all the time.
After the child destroyed the legal documents for the dog.
Exactly.
So yeah, we've got to take this law case seriously. Seriously.
Deadly seriously. As deadly as the cancer that Buddy was suffering from.
Jesus Christ. So the coach shows up during the case and says, hey, why don't we just have the dog decide? The dog is, 3-4 years old? The dog's obviously 8 years old. 8 to 10. This is obviously an old dog.
This film, I don't know when it was filmed, but...
Say it was 96.
The movie came out August 1st, so it was probably filmed late 96 to beginning of 97, latest.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was edited and it came out. Because it's not a movie that takes... It's not tons of stunts. So... This dog had to have been about 8.5 years old. Yeah.
So, yeah, the coach says, this dog's 3-4 years old? It's a legal adult by our years. This dog has looked old as fuck this entire movie.
It is a fully grown golden retriever.
It is. He is obviously in the twilight of his years.
As we would later learn.
That notwithstanding. So... Since the judge is a fan of the janitor who used to be a professional basketball player.
Still don't know his backstory.
Like, I want an Arthur Cheney movie. We need a prequel.
No, we have prequels.
Well, but we'll get to this
prequels.
Yeah, I need an Arthur Cheney prequel where I think he was a Knicks player. I need a prequel with him playing basketball professionally with a dog.
Because how else would he have known? How else would he have had the gut feeling to say, yes, let's play with a dog?
Yeah.
It couldn't just be because he saw the dog bounce a ball once. That's not good enough to rest the laurels of your entire championship game on. There's something else he doesn't know. And I believe they're going to release a film down the line. This series is not done at 14. This series will reconvene. And there will be a story of Arthur Cheney playing for the New York Knicks along with, I don't know, Air Bud's great uncle on his father's side's roommate's sister's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be a thing. So
it's got to be a thing.
So they decide to go outside the courtroom, put the dog in the middle, and put Josh and Norm at each side and have the dog decide. In a super dramatic scene. Just oh, he's going towards the kid, and then Norm brings out the newspaper, and the dog starts walking over to Norm, and you're like, oh, is he going back to his abuser? Don't go back to him, little boy. And no.
Don't do that, Rihanna. Norm Snively is the Chris Brown of the Air Bud franchise.
Yeah. So goes up and just wrecks the guy's shit. Like, I'm surprised they didn't have to tear the dog off of him because of like just going wild and shredding the newspaper and biting at the dude. And then like runs up to the boy and like that's the film. I mean, that's our Iron Man, ladies and gentlemen.
I just want to go back real quick. Looking at the actual plot summary on Wikipedia because they do a good job summarizing stuff. Here's these two lines here. Initially, his team is losing as the next championship to the opposing team until Buddy shows up. This is instead of just putting the quote in there. When it is discovered that there is no rule that a dog could not play basketball. Like it's like this big fine, like it's this big thing, and not just this guy who's like, ain't no rules, this dog can't play basketball.
He does thumb through the rule book. He goes through the rule book.
Yeah, I just think it's great how they describe it by literally just rephrasing what he said and just putting it as one of the lines in the summary.
Just.
So anyways,
this is the most normal movie in this franchise that we are undertaking.
This is the last that we would see of Air Buddy in film. As we said, he passed away shortly after this film was released. And R.I.P. and all that stuff. Yeah. But he did leave a lasting legacy. One in which Rush, Chase, Zach, and Chance all tried to capture in the following film. But I'm sure we will get to that one later on.
Yes.
This
is going to be the next episode of the series is Air Bud, Golden Receiver.
Yep.
I'm so down for these puns. It's going to be a great time. So I believe that is the groundwork of our cinematic universe. This episode will live on as a Bible for future references. If you guys have any questions going through the convoluted plot lines, sometimes you need to catch up and catch things at the base of the series. So please refer back to this one if you need any reference. And you can find us on social media. Ask us Air Bud related questions. We will answer them.
Just remember, guys, at one point, puppies do They do go Halloween hunting. They go to space. They have superpowers. They have Santa Claus stuff go on. They search for treasure. But remember, at the beginning, it's just the story of a child who suffers from clinical depression after his father died in a freak airplane accident, who fights with an evil animal abusing clown to get a golden retriever to play basketball before fighting for the custody to the dog in court.
That's what we call high concept storytelling.
Someone was definitely high for that concept.
All right. We will see you next time for Golden Receiver. We hope this finds you well.